ADHD is a disorder, neurodevelopment disorder based on a spectrum. And we display the symptoms in different ways. We have challenges because we are all human.
Yep.
The difference, in a nutshell, I can tell you is by doing that, by being more aware, understanding yourself more, putting in place really things that help you grow and develop, you are definitely helping yourself to deal also with many symptoms. They will not go away, but definitely you can feel less the intensity and frequency of them. That's for sure. You become a people pleaser to avoid conflict, right?
Yeah.
You become an angry person. So you are very impulsive, impatient. This is all your system trying to protect yourself. That's what defines the difference between a neurotypical brain and a neurodivergent brain.
Hi, Italia. Thank you for talking to me today.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. I think we're going to talk about ADHD today and your work within that. But first of all, what do people maybe misunderstand about ADHD?
Is the fact that many thinks that is about focus, is about being forgetful, but actually it's much more than that. One thing that it is overlooked is the emotional side, the emotional dysregulation, which should be considered really one of the most important executive functions that actually is affected and impacted for someone with the disorder. Actually, it is at the basis of what I do. That's why, having experienced ADHD first person, I can say that I really understood what the key of what I needed to do in order to make my life better. And then for my own experience and the professionally, the ability, educational capacity that I have, I developed programs through which basically I help others to feel more calmer with their lives, is being able to really feel more confident and deal with their symptoms in a different way and helping their brain to function the best way, not against them. That still makes sense?
It does, because often when someone says ADHD, someone's image might be of that, what we might class as just a hyperactive little boy running about, can't sit still. And that is often displayed in young children. But as adults, when we try and calm down, actually, a lot of it is in our head. Yeah. And that causes, like you say, those more emotional issues rather than just wanting to run about.
Yeah, exactly. Because, of course, as a child, you manifest and display symptoms. So you can see easily in a child the hyperactivity side of it, especially.
Yeah.
But as an adult, there is other symptoms that you, of course, display. Because as an adult, probably, even if you are, if you really are hyperactive, but still you are not acting as a child. So it's more in your head. Your brain just is overworked. So you start to feel, of course, as a neurodevelopment disorder, which is what ADHD is obvious that we need to start from the brain, from the mind. So, and how we do that, right? That's the difference. I work with late diagnosed adults, high functioning entrepreneurs, obviously. Why? Obviously, because I recognize myself a lot on that niche, let's say. I really understand what they go through, and because I went through myself. So this is where I developed key tools that help us to live a better life, let's say, peaceful and yeah.
When did you discover that you had ADHD then?
Yeah, that was a nice one, because I was checking for my checking the list for my child. I have
Okay.
3 children. I have Martina, which is 20 years old. She is a student of psychology, and I have Eva, and she's 14. Lucas, she's 12, and Lucas was the boy, the one that I could see that he was manifesting, displaying really the symptoms. So I
Yeah.
was doing the checklist for him. And all of a sudden I started to do the checklist for me. Like, wow, I do this. Like, I do this too. Oh my God, I can't believe, maybe I have ADHD too. And that's why I actually decided to focus on that and give a bit of attention, and understanding that probably something that I would relate to, and because I could see some similarities with him. And then I started to look through my life and what my other 2 children used to do, because the thing is, ADHD is a disorder, neurodevelopment disorder based on a spectrum. And we display the symptoms in different ways. And we do based on different factors. So genetic, of course, is one of them. 70% of the cases of ADHD or autism also are genetic,
Okay.
right? So, and what happens is this part, of course, the genetic part is there. Biology of your brain is there. You bring this with you and your genes. And then you have the environment. So your background, the way you are brought up. And also another important thing, your own personality. So there is different factors here that define how you display the symptoms, and which actually are more, you can recognize more, or others can recognize more in you. That's why when we do a diagnosis, is a long process, exactly because there is so many things that we need to consider, so many areas that we need to consider. And that's why, coming to your question, that's how I find out. And it was interesting that for me, recognizing that I had ADHD was like, wow, and now I can give a face to it, like I can give, I can make sense of this now, because roughly at the age of 40, I started to have a kind of a mid-life crisis, let's say. A lot of question. I wasn't happy with my life. What am I doing here? So that's when I started my path, actually, on therapy and coaching.
Yeah.
And I started with myself, myself having therapy. And when I started to use the method, one of the method that I use that it is rapid transformational therapy, it blew my mind how I could really change based on my mindset could change. And at the time, I didn't know how that would affect my ADHD symptoms.
Okay.
Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So just to make a point here. So, and I saw myself growing from there and getting better. And I became then a clinical hypnotherapist. And then, because in this area, you can never stop learning.
Never stop learning now.
So then I decided to become a coach. And also I am an heart healing practitioner, which is another modality that I use that is really powerful. So all of the learning that I started to do and applied to my clients or my certification and my experience, starting to make a difference in my life, in their lives, but still there was something in there always telling me, well, still it seems like something was missing, because how this works for some people in a certain way, and for me doesn't work in the same way. And that for me was open-minding, really, because I could make a sense of, okay, this is the ADHD part, this is the symptoms that I need to understand and focus more so I can actually thrive with I already know.
Yeah. Because ADHD is on a spectrum, and like you say, we all have these slightly different traits. As a saying, I think it's more in autism that once you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And in fact, that's probably very much the same in ADHD. And there'll be lots of people who don't have ADHD that go, yeah, but I do that as well. Well, yes, you probably do. There's, there are some personality traits as well, but it is ADHD is around your brain and how it actually...
Yeah, and let me tell you something about it. And I guess, I know and I get why people say, well, I am a bit ADHD or a bit autistic.
Yeah.
The question is not that all of us are a bit ADHD or autistic. The thing is, we are not that different in the sense that we react to things. We have emotions the same way. We struggle. We have challenges because we are all human.
Yep.
The difference, in a nutshell, I can tell you, is the intensity of the emotions and the frequency of them. That's what defines the difference between a neurotypical brain and a neurodivergent brain. It's really about that. At the end of the day, is the intensity and the frequency that what makes ADHD or autism being really a challenge for a neurodivergent individual.
And there's lots of people discovering in later life that they've got this. And I think because if you go back to, I'm mid-40s as well. So, once when we were children, this wasn't really spoken about. And certainly if you didn't display that trait of just running around the classroom, it was never picked up on. Because as a child, we equally learn, like everyone else does, that if you mask certain things, then you get on better. But the problem with that is you're masking the symptom, but it's still going on in your head.
Yeah, definitely.
And then at later life, when, especially now we've got very busy lives and everyone talks about productivity and, and checklists and, everything's online and we're meant to be incredibly organized. Actually, that sometimes doesn't work for people with ADHD.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, and makes sense what you were saying, because we display all the symptoms, and as we go in life, we start to display others and mask a lot. And the masking, what's the masking? Masking is just protecting yourself. That's what the brain does. The ultimate job of your brain, mind, is to protect you.
Yeah.
Is to protect you and keep you safe and drive you through pleasure and away from pain. So the masking comes from there. And you need to protect yourself from what? From people that tell you off constantly since you were a child because you are too much. Because you don't shut up, because, this kind of behavior, because you are told to do something and you come 3 times back because you don't remember. So you're distracted and you lost things as a child many times. And people around you are always saying, well, you're always the same. You don't learn, and what this does in a child brain causes more insecurities. So as an adult, how this reflect? Low self-esteem, huge low self-esteem, huge low self-worth. And this is why we mask a lot, because we need to protect us, because we felt that since a child, even if you don't know.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. You don't have that awareness.
Yes.
Right? So you do that in order to protect yourself. And the response to this can be you become a people pleaser to avoid conflict, right?
Yeah.
You become an angry person. So you are very impulsive. impatient. This is all your system trying to protect yourself. But again, neurotypical people do this, but the intensity and frequency, that's what impacts us once again. I hope this makes sense.
It makes complete sense. And you predominantly work with, what you might call a high-performing entrepreneur or people. And there is a statistic, I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's a huge number of entrepreneurs with ADHD. Yeah, entrepreneurship and setting up business does seem to attract that ADHD brain, but then sometimes actually running a business and having it organized and processed is almost a conflict to the ADHD brain, which is why I guess then lots of entrepreneurs start to struggle and start to burn out. Why are ADHD people sort of attracted to setting up their own business, and then why does it go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, this is due to the function of the brain. Once again, my methods are, the way I work, I use a lot of neuroscience, neuroplasticity, so neuroscience-based also tools. And before I do them, they need to make sense to me, and they need to, that's what we do. We go always to the point of everything, to how to say, to the heart of everything, in order to make we need to make sure that we are doing the right thing, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say here is we have the part of us that is the creative, that people many times call the superpower.
Yeah.
Right? And I wanted to demystify this a little bit. I don't know how people will react to that, but I wanted to dismantle this idea of ADHD as a superpower, because actually it's not. What happens is our brain, the creativity you have and the ADHD brain is more prone to use it, and you feel more the flow of it. And it is more in line with what calls your attention, the reward system.
Okay.
Your interest. So that's why you are really good at that.
Yeah.
Our imagination is higher. It's an higher level, because we trigger that a lot, the creative process. And that's why we think, it is a superpower, because we feel like that, because we struggle in everything else.
Yes.
We struggle to plan, we struggle to organize, we struggle with time, right? To get to an appointment on time.
Yeah.
Time awareness or blindness, right? So, and that's why we feel it's a superpower. Of course, there is strength, and there is a powerful way to see it in a way that we can create good things from thinking in that way. But at the same time, we need to understand that we need to have a container behind that they can actually sustain our ideas.
Okay.
That's why we think in 10 ideas, and then we can't pick one and follow through with one. It doesn't happen, because there is imbalance in the brain.
Yeah.
Right? The communication is not done properly. Our brain is certain areas of the brain of a neurodivergent. There are certain areas are up to 30% less developed or smaller than a neurotypical. So that causes the information in the brain basically is it doesn't flow normally as we would like to. And that's why we are more prone to more sensitive.
Yeah.
Because we need to pay more attention to things around us. Does this make sense?
It does, yeah.
So,
you say about ADHD people being more sensitive. Is that people pleasing?
Yeah.
Because if we're not doing that, we just think everyone hates us.
Yes. Yeah. Is the fear of being rejected.
Yes.
And that's when comes also rejective sensitivity dysphoria.
Yeah.
RSD is a huge thing for us. Because it's really about how we interpret and we see ourselves. So because we already feel that pretty much our self-esteem is low, so many times we feel we are not enough. And when someone is telling you something, or at least just a little critics, or something, for you it's something huge. You make it like is the end of the world,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Because this is the reaction. This is the reaction you have, because it's just confirming that you're not enough, and someone is telling you in your face, and you are all your life struggling and battling with this. So this is basically at the basis of rejection sensitivity dysphoria. And then we go to imposter syndrome, which is another big thing, also due to that, and that's why we suffer more of imposter syndrome, exactly because we are highly sensitive. We know that we can feel, due to our weak executive functioning, we fail more times and being more consistent with things, right? And follow through with things. So we become really aware that you are not flawless. You are not enough, because you don't do things perfectly like others do. So that's why, and all of this causes you to feel in that way, and that's why imposter syndrome basically impacts us a lot, because you feel like a fraud. Because how can I be so good at this? How can I do this? I don't deserve this. I am so bad with the planning and organizing and everything else, But actually, when people say, "You are smart," am I? It's like, are they actually kidding?
Yeah, I know.
It comes to that. It comes to that.
And I guess one of the issues is that when someone with ADHD is feeling a bit like that, a bit overwhelmed, a bit like, oh, I'm not very good at this, I haven't got any plans together, things like that. The majority of tools available for people to be more productive, be more helpful, aren't necessarily set up for someone with ADHD, because you sit down with maybe a traditional coach, and it'd be like, okay, well, let's do this checklist or this bit in your diary or whatever it is. And the almost the funny thing is, as an ADHD person, I'm like, yes, I want that. And hence why, I've probably paid for every single productivity tool out there, because I'm really determined to do it and use it.
Did it work?
No. And
doesn't.
then and even if it did for a couple of days, then, I'm bored of that now.
Yeah. There is no consistency. We can't, right? So, And again, it comes to, I don't know how many apps exist to keep you productive, organized, and things planned. But to be honest, they work when you reach a state where you can do it. And that's the issue. Because something that I realize is that traditional ADHD coaching goes a lot by systems, right?
Yeah.
And it is okay. It works and it makes sense. I do too. But we can't forget that first we need to do the job on an internal level, which is understanding. Again, executive functioning is not just the organizing, the planning, the time, the blindness, the time blindness, is also emotional dysregulation. What happens is the brain, the emotional brain, which is your amygdala, and you have your thinking brain, which is your prefrontal cortex. And they are not balanced in a brain with ADHD. That is, the information doesn't flow clearly. So the amygdala is always triggered. It's always very reactive. What happens is, if you are always in a threat environment, the prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, shuts down. It's not time to think. It's time to fly. It's time to run away from something,
Yeah.
So it shuts down completely your ability to use the reasoning, right? So And that's why we are more prone to anxieties, depression, and other comorbidities that many people with ADHD have. And why do they have them? Because as a little child, you weren't diagnosed. You didn't receive the diagnostic as a neurodivergent.
Yeah.
So then you had to cope yourself with all your symptoms, and of course, that's what comes up to, right? Does make sense? So yeah. So what happened is the work that I do is exactly going into the emotional brain, trigger the amygdala, understanding what is going on there, why we do the thing we do, understanding the patterns, understanding the behaviors, and understanding why they are there, what are they doing for us. Because as I was saying in the beginning, the first job of your mind is to protect you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all about that. So, and because we are highly sensitive, we trigger a lot our amygdala. The basically, which is the what keep us alive, right? At the same time,
I mean, it's there for a good reason.
Exactly.
Just
You
not
want to keep us
necessarily
safe, right?
Yeah.
So whatever you feel, what's an emotion? An emotion, as it's energy in motion. That's why it's the reaction, right? And it comes from there. It's an instinct. It's not something you think. You actually do it. It's instinctive.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So the emotion, that's why it's hard to kind of balance emotion, because you can't control them. They just come up.
Yeah.
But what you can control. You can control your thoughts. You can control your feelings, because feelings is different from emotion. Because your feelings come from the thoughts, and the emotion comes from the amygdala. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but there's a lot in there, isn't there, to take in? But I guess it's breaking it down and understanding.
Yeah.
Even with your faults, is this fault serving me well, and is it gonna benefit? So would you say people with ADHD need to sort of just work on their general faults, and that will, because you can't change your
right, we can, we can, because that's a neuroplasticity. What's neuroplasticity? Is the ability of your brain to rewire itself.
Okay.
At any age. So what happens is, when you start to educate your amygdala, not just educate, but also maturing your brain, because that's what we need. We need our brain to mature. To evolve in that sense, because again, there is certain areas that are smaller or not developed as a neurotypical brain, and that's what it is. We need to mature this area, and how you do that? Exactly giving the amygdala, the emotional brain, the understanding that it needs that this behavior is not helping me. This pattern is not actually is not protecting me, is actually hurting me more. So it's giving you the freedom then to choose, okay, what I'm going to do next now that I know this. But the thing is, you can't do this using only the conscious mind. You need to go to the subconscious mind, which is part of the work that I do too. Because on the conscious mind, is the seat of your beliefs. The seat of your belief system, where you have your memories. It's like the software running behind, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if that part is not balanced, of course, the prefrontal cortex will not be able to work properly, because there is a gap. We need to build a bridge between the emotional brain and the thinking brain. And that's what I do with my clients in the process. I teach them basically what they need to know in order to allow the amygdala to calm down and the nervous system to calm down, so they can use more of their executive functioning. And the more you do that, the more you are strengthening these neural pathways in the brain that help and reinforce them. So you use more and more, and you become more aware. You will become less impulsive. You will become more in control. You can be more in control, because you started to build that bridge that makes the thinking brain working a little bit more. Because if the amygdala is not triggered that much, the alarm system that there's a threat going on in there shuts down. I am safe. Then okay, then I can think, I can plan, I can organize what I'm going to do now, what is going to happen next. So instead of relying on things like anxiety, oh my gosh, it's going to happen something very horrible to me and catastrophizing things. No, you think, actually, what's the worst thing that's going to happen to me? Is that so bad? Because, the mind lies a lot.
Yeah.
Again, trying to protect yourself. But many times doesn't do in the right way. Because you have a redundant system that doesn't work for you anymore. Because as the things that we learn at a early stage in our lives as a child, that's what you use for the rest of your life. You just display your beliefs in different things in a different way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because it's those early years, and certainly up until the sort of age of 7 or 8 or whatever, that a lot of development takes place.
Yeah.
And certainly if you're not aware of how your brain operates, and maybe 7 or 8 year olds probably can't be expected to fully understand that, but that then does just set you up for life.
Yeah, and also because at a younger age, if the small or less developed areas of the brain are not at the stage they should be, of course, that will causes also more trauma. And that's why you actually start to create more mechanism to protect yourself. And
that's where individual personalities, individual upbringings, individual experiences mean that one person with ADHD and another person with ADHD actually ends up displaying slightly different symptoms.
Exactly.
So do you think people can live with ADHD well? Just is it a case of managing it?
More than managing, as I was saying, it's maturing. It's maturing because when you mature your brain, you give yourself tools and awareness. Even awareness is not, it's not enough, but it's the first step that guides you really to a more healthier life. Because when you gain awareness, you start to give yourself the option of having a choice. And then you can choose differently. As I was saying about going back to the reaction, right? Because it's about we think something, and then we feel something about that thought, and then that thought, the feeling triggered the emotion, and then what you do to the emotion, you react to it. So instead of reacting, we should start to act upon things, which is different. When do you act? When you are not acting, but you see the spark coming. You get angry, but you don't react with it. I don't feel comfortable with this, but what is the best thing that I can do right now to respond to this without reacting? So, and this is a conversation that I always tell my clients, you need to talk to yourself a lot. Self-talk is important, is overrated, overlooked, but it is so important. Self-talk is one amazing tool to switch on your prefrontal cortex because it's your reasoning. Ask questions to yourself. One of the things that I tell my son is because always whatever he thinks he needs to just come out of his mouth, and I say count till 10 and ask yourself, is this really something I need to ask? Do I need to say this? And automatically, when you ask the question to yourself, the answer comes. You just need to give time to yourself for that to happen.
So that's a really good one. One, being aware of your thoughts, but taking a time to think about what you're saying. You're talking about self-talk, especially because we know that negative self-talk hurts as much as anyone else's sort of negative talk amongst us. But equally, we can actually be positive about ourselves and do gratitude and point out all of the good bits. For someone suffering with ADHD, but what are some good habits and good things that they do? Because I know that people with ADHD are much more likely to get addicted to things, to get distracted by certain things, but we need to steer away from that.
Yeah.
And find positive things to cope. What are some good things?
All the things that we actually, the addiction and everything else that actually drive a ADHD brain to that is exactly, I can't cope with myself. I can cope with what I'm doing. So I need something out of me that can kind of stop that feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why we are more prone to that, to addiction and other behaviors that are negative. But at the base of everything, we can't forget that our brain is negative. Our mind is negative by default. Because if it's not that, it's not going to be helpful. It's not going to keep us safe.
It's down to keeping us safe. Yeah.
Safe. So safety is the first thing that someone needs to learn. Feeling safe in his own skin, feeling safe with yourself. But if you don't know yourself, you can't do that.
No.
So that's something you need to work on. So and building that safety will open space to understand yourself more, to understand patterns, behavior that are not helpful. Again, give you the freedom, give you the choice to then decide what to do. Okay, now I know this, what I'm going to do with the knowledge that I have now. I have a choice. Bear in mind that, of course, we can change our belief system in a day or two, but it is something that comes with the repetition of things, but with the awareness and the repetition, you definitely can change the neural pathways in your brain. Of course, we can erase ADHD or autism. We can't.
No.
But we can have a better life. Definitely. We can change some pathways in our brain that will help us to reinforce and strengthen our executive functioning. That's for sure. So we will sleep sometimes, but it's not going to be with the same intensity and same frequency.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, talking about, you said about bad habits, some of the good, I mean, I certainly know that going to the gym or anything to give you that hit, I guess, that sort of little pump, the cortisol and
there is. I mean, going to the gym is good because, of course, there is a release, right? Right, of cortisol, so we can it is good to do that for your it's just not for the brain, but also for you, your entire body. I mean, it's from your mind. But also it comes to what are your preferences, right? Some people like to meditate. So meditation, it's something that people hear about it, but many think it's a trend sometimes. So everyone nowadays meditating. Okay, but what it does is actually see your brain as a muscle. And if you do that, the meditation is exercising your brain. Because as you go into meditation, it doesn't mean that you stay for an hour. You don't need to do that. But if you get into the idea of doing that, what you are doing is exercising your brain to actually direct your attention to the things that you want. Yes. So that's a good one. And people don't see really meditation under this light, but this is a really powerful tool. And the more you do that, this will help with the switching tasks, for example. When we are in hyperfocus, it's hard because it's so hard to get into that the focus. Like when you are in, you don't feel you're going to stop. Otherwise, you will
you lose your focus, and that's it. You're off. And people with ADHD are massive procrastinators.
Exactly. Again, the imbalance that exists. So meditation does that. It gives you the space for you to understand that you can put your attention and focus where you want as you practice. So you will see that also changing in you as you practice meditation. The journaling is another underrated.
And I guess with your journaling,
activity.
the way you can get in that positive self-talk as well,
Yeah.
whether it's a gratitude list or just getting
Whatever it
things
is,
down.
brainstorming, or just say whatever comes to your mind without thinking, is it doesn't help everything in your brain, right? In your mind, it doesn't help. So when you put down on paper, you are taking everything and on the paper, so you are digesting the information at the same time, and you start to see things under a different light. Because it gives you the awareness, right, that you
Yeah.
need. You are giving time. You're building that bridge between the emotion, what I'm feeling at the moment, and actually go, can I do about it? So you open that space when you do
Yeah.
journaling.
And I guess getting down lots of those ideas means that you can review them the following day.
Yeah.
And you might view them slightly differently, whether
Yeah.
actually that's not a good idea
Yeah.
or that is a good idea, rather than just reacting straight away.
Yeah, and also you can see also your patterns by doing that. Because you see the thoughts that you think the most, because 70% of your thoughts are in looping, are in loop. So you have looping thoughts constantly.
Yeah.
Our subconscious mind is basically a software that runs over and over with the same thoughts. That basically they are built by our beliefs.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And when you start to interrupt the pattern, and when you write down how you feel, what is going on, whatever you're journaling every day about your feelings, if you do that, you can actually get the pattern of the thoughts that you think the most, and what actually are impacting you, let's say negatively or positively, depends, right? So that another one. So we were talking about the journaling, the
Yes, we've spoken exercise, journaling.
exercise is it's another one that. But anything that brings you really at a state of feeling, feeling that is helping you in any way.
Yeah.
Is obviously good to do, but there is also food. The question of what we eat also influences us, but that's for another level.
Okay, we'll just quickly touch on that because not so much food, but drink and particularly coffee.
Yeah.
Because I've heard about caffeine and ADHD and whether you shouldn't have coffee first thing in the morning, but equally a lot of people say, well, I can have coffee and it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, exactly. It depends a little bit of again on your personality, what actually works best for you or not.
Yeah.
So I love coffee, and as an Italian, I can't go without an espresso in the morning. So I really need it in the morning. But it's something that I need, but it's more than I need, something that I like to have because it's part of my culture,
Yes.
to be honest. But what I really need is in the morning have my time. So I try to get to have my coffee. I make it like a ritual. So I sit down, I look around, out of the window. So the time I'm taking my coffee is a time for me to relax at the same time. So, and this is something that helps me, of course, but of course, if I abuse caffeine, of course, it's not going to help me, right? But again, why we use it? Because our alert system thinks that is helping us to remain in alert.
Yeah.
So we don't put our guard down. So that's why people say, oh, caffeine helps a lot.
It just keeps us alert, which again can help protect us.
More, yeah,
and that's
it triggers more. So everything in life, it's about balance, to be honest, to me. And we should learn to live our lives without exterior anchors, let's say, or exterior, things that we think are important to for us, because we have everything inside to drive. We shouldn't need them. They can complement, definitely.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't really rely on exterior things to feel balance.
Yeah, because a lot of the time we do default to whether it's purchasing something new or having something. It's often a material good, but that's actually a bit of a compensation for how we are feeling internally. So that the real work should be done on us, not just gaining material things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, again, the maturity of the brain, the underdeveloped part area of the brain that doesn't know how to cope differently. So he needs reward now. He needs the pleasure now because he doesn't know how to cope with the feeling he's feeling at the moment. So that's why the impulsivity to buy stuff.
Yeah.
So
because ADHD people do have that slightly impulsive thing, we take up a hobby and that's it. This is going to be the best hobby ever. Buy all the kit and then move on. So it's understanding that. Yeah. And I guess maybe a tool would be to write it down, come back to it the following day and see and just try and reduce that impulse purchasing or impulse decisions.
Yeah, if you see, it's like a little child, right? Child, when we want something, oh my gosh, I'm getting this, and I get excited about it. Again, it's the maturity of the area of the brain that needs to really be worked out, so you can actually understand. I really need this,
Yeah.
So, and that's what it is about, is really maturing the brain in that sense. So you can use your finances in a different way, your money differently. You can decide what to do in a different way without being impulsive about things. There's a lot that will change. I can say that by doing that, by being more aware, understanding yourself more, putting in place really things that help you grow and develop, you are definitely helping yourself to deal also with many symptoms. They will not go away, but definitely you can feel less the intensity and frequency of them. That's for sure.
I love that because it's understanding that your ADHD won't go away, but you can start to maybe live a slightly better life by understanding and controlling some of the emotions that surround it. And there is more research being done now and more understanding. So I guess it puts people in a better position to be able to manage it than perhaps we were many years ago.
About managing, I'm a bit, it's not about managing, because it's not about managing symptoms, it's about managing yourself. That's what makes the difference. Because at the end of the day, the symptoms is part of what you are manifesting, what you are displaying of your personality. And when you do things over and over again, right, they become a trait of your personality.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. That's why, there's symptom. My mind is trying to tell me something through that symptom. Okay, what can I do for myself?
Yeah.
To change this, how can I help myself? One of the things also that is important when people want to, sometimes people with ADHD that want to reach out to ADHD coaches or therapists or professionals in the area.
Yeah.
There is a fear that, oh my gosh, I have to now get everything straight and be organized, and they get overwhelmed with all the systems that they need to put in practice. And it can feel overwhelming. Because it's not something that you're excited in the beginning, but after a week, as you say, we go down again. Because it asks too much from our brain is wired, basically. It asks too much for that. And we enter in overwhelm, and then the burnout. We easily burn out because of that, with the pressure we feel about everything. So this is for saying, see, I'm blank now.
But this is classic.
Yeah, it is.
Classic. This is the way.
I want to say so many things.
Yeah, conversations go, but maybe not managing, but looking after yourself. And I think that's important for everyone, but particularly people who are neurodiverse with the slightly different brain makeup and being able to understand what's going on.
Another thing is the time blindness. As I said, children don't have any idea of time, right? Because there is no awareness of time.
No.
Oh, when did you do that? Oh, yesterday or an hour ago, and it was probably 3 months ago.
Yeah,
because they don't have any awareness of that, and that's what we many of us struggle with as an adult. As I was saying, we keep going, we manifesting different things in situation, but we still have them. So, and that's again about the maturity. So we need to mature the area of the brain that actually deals with time awareness. And the more you trigger that, the more you will be able to understand how valuable it is for you. So it's about giving attention to the things really we need to work on. And as I was saying on my work, because I do a lot of subconscious work, it's easy to do that job because the subconscious is, going into the subconscious is very easy. It's natural. It's like an hypnotic state, but it's a very relaxed state where you access to things that on a conscious level you can't. It doesn't mean you're sleeping. It's not. It's just an area of your brain that you can actually enter when the conscious level, the conscious mind is just sleeping or at least quiet.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful because by doing that and by trying to understand what is going to help you on a subconscious level, what is going on, the change then it becomes natural. So you don't get overwhelmed with the change. I want to go back to the fact that when you get overwhelmed with the normal system that a ADHD coaching can bring to you, right? If you're not at a level that you can actually stable, that you can use them, it's going to just overwhelming you more and will burn out you. So, and that's why doing that on another level, on a subconscious level, everything will be then done in a more natural way. And you kind of feel, I need to do this now. And for you, being more organized and planning better will become natural and will flow better than if you try to do without doing the work behind.
That all makes sense. Italia, thank you so much for sharing your insights with me today. You're clearly very knowledgeable about ADHD and the work that you do with people is fantastic because we know lots of adults who struggle and hit that overwhelm and overwhelm is a really tough thing to deal with, and then we end up shutting down almost, don't we? So, the work you're doing is brilliant. And thank you for sharing your insights with me today.
It was a pleasure. And thank you again for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Balanced Ambition podcast. I genuinely hope the stories inspire you as much as they inspire me. If you found value in today's conversation, please share it with a friend. And remember, by subscribing, you won't miss an episode, and it would truly mean the world to me. Stay balanced, and I'll see you next time.